Welcome to Stories. Girlfriend catches me in her dress. Jake's heart thundered in his chest, the rhythmic pounding almost deafening as he stood in front of the mirror, trying to make sense of the reflection staring back at him. His sister's floral dress clung to his body, soft and flowing, a delicate whisper against his skin that contrasted so sharply with the rough fabric of his usual jeans and t-shirts. It felt strange, alien, even, but not entirely wrong. He tugged awkwardly at the hem, as if trying to make the dress fit better, trying to make himself fit better inside it. His mind swirled with questions, thoughts he hadn't yet dared to fully explore. Why did this feel good? Why wasn't he repelled by the image in front of him? The boy in the mirror looked like a stranger at first glance, yet the longer he stared, the more it felt like he was seeing a hidden part of himself, one that had been buried for so long. This wasn't the first time he had felt the pull to experiment. There had been late-night moments, secretive and tense, when everyone was asleep, and he tiptoed into his sister's room, heart racing, fingers trembling as he slipped on something soft and feminine. But this time felt different. The daylight was harsh and unforgiving, exposing him in a way that felt far more real. There was no escaping from the reflection in the mirror, no hiding from the swirling emotions it stirred inside him. A soft click of the bedroom door snapped him out of his thoughts, his stomach immediately plummeting. His pulse quickened with dread as his worst fear materialized. "Jake, what are you?" His girlfriend, Lily, stood frozen in the doorway. Her wide eyes scanned the room, landing on him with a mixture of shock and confusion. The silence that followed was deafening. Jake felt like he had been caught red-handed, as if he had done something horribly wrong. His breath caught in his throat and panic surged through him like a tidal wave. He quickly moved to pull off the dress, but his hands were shaking too much, fumbling as they struggled with the straps. "Lily, I can explain," he stammered, his voice trembling with fear. "It's not what it looks like, I swear." He braced himself for the worst. Laughter, disgust, maybe even anger. He expected her to storm out or call him a freak. But instead, Lily didn't move. She stood there, her expression unreadable, the door still slightly ajar behind her. Then, slowly, she stepped inside and closed the door behind her with a quiet click. "You don't have to explain," she said softly, her voice calm but laced with curiosity. "I'm not mad." Jake blinked, unable to believe his ears. "You're not?" Lily shook her head. "No, I'm just surprised, but maybe not in the way you think." She took another step closer, her eyes flickering between his face and the dress. "I'm not upset. I just didn't expect this." Relief and confusion warred within Jake. The tightness in his chest eased a little, but the weight of embarrassment and fear still lingered. "I didn't mean for anyone to see me like this," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's just, I don't know. It felt like something I had to try. Please don't think I'm weird." Lily smiled softly, shaking her head again. "I don't think you're weird, Jake. I think it's kind of interesting, actually." She moved closer until she was standing directly in front of him, her fingers gently brushing the fabric of the dress. Her eyes were filled with a quiet curiosity rather than judgment. "You look good in this." Jake's cheeks flushed. The words were so unexpected that he didn't know how to respond. This wasn't the reaction he had imagined in his wildest dreams. "You're not freaked out?" Lily bit her lip thoughtfully before answering. "No," she said softly. In fact, she paused, a smile slowly curling at the corners of her lips. "I think I want to help you. If this is something you want to explore, I mean." Jake stared at her, feeling his heart race for an entirely different reason now. He was caught between disbelief and excitement, unsure whether to trust what he was hearing. "You'd help me?" "Yeah." Lily reached up to gently adjust one of the dress's straps on his shoulder, her touch light and reassuring. "Why don't we start with this outfit? We could add some accessories, maybe even do your makeup, if you're up for it." Jake felt a mix of exhilaration and vulnerability wash over him. The idea of Lily not only accepting this side of him but actually wanting to help him explore it was more than he had ever hoped for. "You'd really do that for me?" "Of course." Lily's expression softened as she took his hands in hers. "If this is something that's part of you, then I want to be a part of it too. I love you, Jake. All of you." Her words were like a balm to his frayed nerves, soothing the last vestiges of fear that had been gripping him. For the first time in what felt like forever, Jake felt truly seen, not just as the person he presented to the world, but as the person he was still discovering within himself. I don't even know how to thank you." Lily laughed softly, squeezing his hands. "You don't have to thank me. We'll figure this out together." They sat down on the floor of his room, surrounded by makeup, accessories, and more of his sister's clothes, pulled from her closet. Jake still felt a bit nervous, but the anxiety that had once consumed him was slowly replaced by a tentative sense of excitement. As they laughed and talked, Lily showed him how to apply foundation, eyeshadow, and lipstick, her hands steady and gentle as she guided him through each step. At first, Jake felt clumsy, unsure of how to hold the brush or apply the powder. But with each stroke of the brush, he felt more comfortable, more in tune with the image slowly taking shape in the mirror. He looked at his reflection, seeing his face transform, not into someone unrecognizable, but into a version of himself that had always been there, hidden just beneath the surface. Lily added a pair of earrings and a delicate necklace, finishing the look with a pair of heels she had brought from her own closet. "There," she said, stepping back to admire her handiwork. "You look amazing." Jake blinked, staring at the mirror. The reflection looking back at him was both familiar and utterly new. He looked beautiful. For the first time, he didn't feel like he was just playing dress-up. This felt real. It felt like a part of him that he had been too scared to acknowledge before. I don't even know what to say," Jake whispered, his voice barely audible. Is this really me?" Lily stood behind him, her hands resting on his shoulders, her reflection beaming beside his. "It's all you," she said softly, pride evident in her voice. "Every part of you is beautiful." Jake turned to face her, his eyes shining with gratitude and emotion. "Thank you for everything." Lily leaned in and kissed him softly on the cheek. "We'll keep this between us for now," she said gently, her voice full of understanding. "But whenever you're ready, I'll be by your side, no matter what." Jake nodded, a sense of calm settling over him. There would be challenges ahead, questions from friends, family, and maybe even himself. The weight of secrecy still loomed large, but with Lily by his side, the burden didn't feel quite as heavy anymore. Together, they were stepping into something unknown, but for the first time in a long while, Jake felt ready to face it. As the night wore on, they lay side by side, talking about everything and nothing, their connection deepening with every shared word, every stolen glance. The journey ahead was still unclear, full of questions that didn't yet have answers, but one thing was certain: they would face it together. And as Jake drifted off to sleep that night, his heart full of hope, he knew that this was just the beginning, a new chapter in his life, one filled with possibilities he had never dared to dream of. The future was unknown, but with Lily by his side, he felt like he could face whatever came next. Thank you for joining us on another captivating journey through those stories. Remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale. Until next time, keep exploring, keep imagining, and keep believing in the magic of storytelling. See you in the next chapter.